Let's take a look at how we can utilize the beautiful forms and things that we're making inside of High Level's AI Studio and take them into a workflow automation so that we can trigger things to happen when our forms or our surveys or other things are filled out. If you haven't seen it yet, I did a previous video all about how to create beautiful looking forms like this one, where you can have sliders, cards that you can select, drag and drop interfaces, as well as matrices and things like that. And if we get to it here, the ability to add in multiple team members, and lastly, to add a signature. So now I'm going to show you how we can take all of these inputs that we received through this beautiful looking survey form and access them inside of High Level, inside of our workflow automations. Now, in my previous video, when we made our forms, I talked about how when a form gets submitted, the form can either create custom fields and populate those custom fields, or that data can just come here into the form submission section. Now, if we're going to want to trigger automations based off of this form, we have really two options, and I'm going to show you how to actually do the trigger. But if you want to utilize the data, that's where the two options come in. Now, when the data comes in, if it's not in a custom field, there's very little we can do with it in an actual automation. If we send the data over a webhook from our form, we can suddenly utilize the data in a much easier way, but webhooks are more complicated. I want to show you both methods because I feel like both methods are going to have their merits. But to get started, let's start with the default method where we told the AI connect the form to our CRM. Now, this was a rather complicated form. If you were following along on our previous video, this was the form here. If I restart my demo, this was the form with the really cool like toggle effects and the sliders and these types of cards, right? Lots of different fields, lots of like complex multi-input options. Now here inside of our results, we got most of those fields submitted. However, some of the fields did not come through. The more complicated your form, the more you're going to run into this issue, at least at the time of making this video, until the AI gets a little bit better at this. So if you run into issues with getting the error that says the field couldn't be mapped, I've shown in my previous video how to fix that error. I'm bringing it up now because inevitably it'll come up in the comments. So go watch the other video. I show you how to resolve the error. Sometimes you have to do it multiple times to get it right. But anyway, we have some custom fields that came through from our form submission. So I want to show you how we can utilize these fields in our automation itself. Now, I mentioned there's the two ways to trigger webhook or via the form submission itself by telling it integrate with my CRM. Let's stick with the integrated with CRM method first using custom fields. You're going to want to look for external tracking event. You can do a search for it, or when you use it, it'll be under recent. With our external tracking event here, we're going to be looking for the event that is any of, let's do form submitted. Now we add another filter, and we're going to filter so that the external form is the form that we submitted. That's the bare minimum that we need, so we'll save our trigger there. And now we need to decide what we want to do with it. Now, by default, when a form is submitted with that integration, where you tell the AI connect it to my CRM, the contact is already created. So we don't need to create the contact. We don't need to update the contact. We don't need to update all the custom fields, etc. That's already done for us. But what we can do are things like sending an email. And this would be a really great place to start. And that's what I'll focus on, because in most cases, when data comes in, we probably want to send an email. But there's other things you can do like conditional logic, and I'll go over that as well. So with the send email option, you can fill all this in. I'm just going to focus on how to get access to our data. Now remember, this is the integration with custom fields created by the form. So we're going to open up the custom values, this little tag here, and we're going to find the contact. We're going to scroll down to custom fields, and we're going to start looking for the custom fields that were created. And they will be in here. So for example, slider brightness, slider volume, those were two of my fields. Survey data, all those different fields were used. So I would insert them here, and that will pull in whatever value was submitted in the form into that custom field. So you can see why the custom fields are basically mandatory in this type of implementation. Now that's if you want to use the entries and the content of that form submitted inside of an email. But you can also do other basic things, such as like emailing the person directly. And by default, since the contact was created and the submission of the external form triggered this workflow, it knows the email of the person. So it will send this actual email to that person without us needing to even enter in their email address. But let's say we didn't want to send an email, we wanted to use that form submission or survey submission or application to trigger access to areas of high level, maybe in our membership or a course. We would add an action. Let's do an if conditional here because I want to show you how we can filter some data. So we'll go to our contact details and we'll again be looking for a custom field. So let's say that our custom field we're looking for is newsletter. Let's say that they toggled on that they wanted to join our newsletter. Okay, in this case, if it is yes, and I believe that was the toggle effect, you'll want to check your form submission. Then we can say, okay, if they toggled onto our newsletter, then we can come in here and add a tag, and our tag could be our newsletter. Now let's pretend our conditional was something different, and it wasn't just adding them to a newsletter, but let's say that their criteria that they filled in qualified them to get access to our private community or private coaching, whatever it might be. So from here, it's just as easy as saying grant course offer or grant group access for the communities. So I could say grant course offer, and I could say grant them to my all access pass course and hit save. Now what's going to happen is that automatically upon completing the survey or the form, if the conditions of the custom fields are met, then they are going to be granted access in this case to a particular course. So you can see if we use the conditionals on the custom fields, that's a pretty robust integration that allows us to essentially do anything that we want inside of high level, granted those fields are filled out. So I've gone ahead and I've created another form. This is like a premium application. And it's pretty cool. They can select various things. It has some neat effects here. I want this data to be sent over via a webhook. Now I had previously connected this form via the default connect it to my CRM feature. I've instead prompted it to say, I don't want this form to connect by default to my CRM anymore. I want it to send a webhook instead that I can catch, and the webhook in my CRM, et cetera, send this data to this URL. And what I did was I came into high level and I added a trigger, and the trigger is an inbound webhook. We'll show you that in a second. And it gives you a default webhook URL. I gave that URL to the AI, and then I asked it to let me know the key value pairs when it's done. So it looks like it finished, but it didn't give me those key value pairs. So I'm asking it if I can get an answer key for the keys that will be sent over from the various form fields so that I can look for them. I find that when I ask for things like this, it just makes mapping it a little easier if you have a really complex form and you're not sure which data key matches which field. So this form is actually pretty simple. There's technically only a few questions and they take the features in an array, but I'll show you what that looks like as we submit the form, we'll give it a refresh and see the data that comes in over our webhook. All right, our form was submitted. Now let's go back into our automation and fetch sample requests. And the payload did come through. And we can take a look at how that data came in. We have our basic details that come over like normal, but then we have our features. And this is why I really, really love webhooks. Here, let me get myself out of the way so you can see this. We have the features in an array, which is easy. And then our signature is a base 64 thing. I would probably tell it to take the signature off because it's not really needed for use in our automation. So it doesn't need to be sent over a webhook. It can stay in the form submission. That's totally fine. But here's cool. The features came over. So now let's save our trigger here. And now when a webhook comes in, here's what's different. The webhook needs to create the contact. So for the sake of our demo here, I'll delete the other, I'll bring myself back here. I'll delete the other trigger. We're just using our webhook trigger. When you have a webhook trigger, you need to create a user and it'll create them or update them. And you have to map fields. So I'm going to map the name of our contact. That'll be first name, or I could do full name, depending on how the data is collected. But I'll come in here now and I'll map it using this little tag icon here. And I'm looking for our inbound webhook trigger. I love webhooks because the data is just so seamlessly broken out for you and you don't have to fuss with custom fields. Granted, unless you want to populate the data that comes into a custom field. But here's our first name that came in. Let's go ahead and add another field. I'm going to add in the last name. I'm going to map that via webhook. And I'm also going to map their email that came over. And that's just, again, inbound webhook email. And if I want to map the company field, I'll just scroll down. I'll find the default business name is what high level calls it. And there's the company. Now we have an array here of our features, and we need to be able to digest what came over in that array. So I'm not going to map those just yet. I'm going to hit save action. Now looking again at our data that came over, the features came over in an array. The features were those little boxes that we were able to check. I checked all of them so we'd have all that data. So they came over in an array. Now if I want to get access to each of those individual features, I could write some custom JavaScript and I could put a code block in here. I'm not really going to worry about it. Instead, I'm going to keep it simple. So for example, if someone is a dedicated manager, okay, we'll go with that option. dedicated underscore manager. So I can use that data in a condition, and I can say, okay, if the, let's change our condition from this one to look at the inbound webhook trigger, and let's look for features. If the features includes dedicated underscore manager. So if the data includes dedicated manager, I could call this branch dedicated manager. Then I can do things for dedicated managers. And I could do a field that says if it includes all three, etc. So that's how I would map those in a conditional. Now you could do other things with that data. You could send an email. So after the contact is created, I can also send that email. And in that email data, here's what's really cool. I don't have to worry about the custom fields anymore. I can just bring in the inbound webhook trigger and I can drop in all of the features. So all of those different features in that array would be dropped in, and then I can drop in all of the same features like the first name, last name, etc. So I'll just use an example here for the first name. And when I send an email, I like to put what it is, like first name, this, and I'll put features like that. And that's a really great way to create an email notification that goes to you, your business, your client, whatever it might be, whoever needs to get this, so that they know a lead was submitted, an application was filled out, here's the data inside that application. It makes it really, really easy to map that over. Now, if I wanted to save any of that data inside of a custom field, it's really easy. When I'm creating my contact, for example, I could have a custom field. I'd already created the features custom field. Now all I have to do, inbound webhook, drop in my features, hit save, and all of the data comes over. All right, so I just submitted a test here, and let's take a look at the data that got mapped. The contact was created successfully, obviously, or otherwise I would not have been able to come in here. It brought in the name, the email, it brought in, I didn't map the business name in our automation, but it should have, there it is, mapped our features. The features that I selected on that form submit, there were 3 of them. Yep, I did the dedicated manager, priority support, and enterprise security. Now, if I come back into our workflow, I can check my execution logs, or enrollment history is actually the one I want to go to. And we can find, there it is, that was my test that came through. You can actually see that it did work on granting the course offer, but let's take a look at the execution path. It came in, it created the contact, it met the condition, the if else, did contain course manager. So what happened? They exited the workflow after being granted access to the course offer. So this user would have received an email inviting them to take the course because they were a dedicated manager. Okay, so let's just really quickly recap what we had there. Forms got submitted from AI Studio. They were both external forms. One of the forms, I did the default CRM integration. I told the AI, connect this to my CRM. What it did was it created custom fields, albeit a little haphazardly. I had to go in and correct it, but it created custom fields and it populated those custom fields with the data from the form. Obviously, the more complicated your form, the more cumbersome custom fields can be. The other form I connected via a webhook, and I sent the webhook to high level, caught it inside of a workflow automation, and took all those various data pieces and plugged them in wherever I wanted to use them as conditionals, dropped them in an email notification, and I was able to use the data right away without custom fields. Personally, I love webhooks, but I could see the use for both cases. On simpler forms, I would probably just use the default integration. On more complex forms, particularly ones with lots of complex data that is going to need to come over in arrays, I would rather have an array in a webhook than 50 different custom fields if I had a matrix that, had 3 options and 5 lines, right? So you could use a webhook or a default integration depending on your data and the type of form. Now here's the catch with webhooks. If you don't connect your form to the default and you don't use the default CRM integration, it's not going to store that external form data. But here's a little trick. You just tell the AI that you want to connect it to your CRM, but you also want to send a webhook. And you can do both. It will create the entry, it will create the contact at that time as well. That's fine in the create contact action in the workflow. It'll just update that user. So although the user will exist, it will update them with all the data and do whatever with it that you want it to do. And that'll let you store the form submission under sites, forms, submissions, external forms, the name of your external form, and it can trigger your automation or utilize that data in your workflow automation based on the webhook that came over. Kind of like the best of both worlds. If I had a super complex form and I wanted those data entries stored in a submission, or maybe my client did, that's the way that I would go about it. So hopefully that was helpful, giving you insights into how to use workflow automations in a fairly practical way. If you have additional questions, you can always check out Convology Plus, where I can help you build whatever you're looking to do inside a high level in AI Studio. But otherwise, check out my AI Studio videos. You'll see the playlist right there, particularly if you haven't seen my overview for what the AI Studio is capable of doing right now and what it's not capable of doing. Check that playlist out. And I'll go ahead and I'll link the one that I did here about creating custom forms in high level so you can see how I made some of those really cool forms.